Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll give it a few more minutes as people are logging on, but nice to see everyone. Okay, well, I think we'll get started now. I'm sure more people will come in, but since the evening meeting, we'll try to stay on time. We'll go around the room and do a quick introductions of everyone just to get started. I can call on people in the order that I see them here, but if we don't get to you or if I miss you, just let me know and we'll get you introduced. So to start out with Jackie.
Oh, hi there. I'm Jackie Curda. I'm the director of Ucsb's Alcohol and Drug Counseling Prevention Recovery Program, and happy to be here. I understand we're talking about Isla Vista activities, and so alternative activities. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you. And Jackie, I see you have your pronouns up, she, her, and that reminded me that I'll ask if anyone wants to share that with their introduction as well. So Luke.
Hi there. My name is Luke, and pronoun he. And I'm from Lucidity. Lucidity's creative director, one of the founders. Happy to be here, talking about what might be fun in the community. It's exciting. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Brian.
Hi, Brian Patton, and I'm he, him, his. And so, I'm more of a person that likes to kind of take a survey of things and then relay back reliable data so that, people can handle their business properly, basically. And the community is a nicer place.
Great, thanks for joining us tonight. Viviana.
Hello, Viviana Marzano, Civic and Community Engagement at Ucsb with the Office of Student Life, and well, it's called SEAL now, and the Dean of Students. My pronouns are she, her, ella.
Thanks, Viviana. Joshua.
Hi, my name is Joshua Mejia, and I'm the program coordinator of the St. George Youth Center in Isla Vista. And my pronouns are he, him, and his.
Great, thanks for joining us. Anna.
Hi, my name's Anna Jensen, and I am the director of Isla Vista Arts. So we work in Isla Vista, producing some shows in the parks there and at the St. George Youth Center. So I'm glad to hear from you all.
Great, thanks for joining us. And for anyone who's coming on right now, we're just doing introductions. Next up on my screen, I have Gina.
Hi folks, my name is Gina. My pronouns are she, her, and I just live in Isla Vista and I volunteer with Food Not Bombs, and I'm excited to hear your ideas.
Thanks, Gina. Jonah.
Hello, my name is Jonah Gabriel Haas, and I am also with Lucidity Festival. My pronouns are he, him. It's been a pleasure to be collaborating with the Isla Vista Community Service District over the last few years, trying to put together plans for events in Isla Vista, and look forward to continuing to explore what's possible.
Thanks, Jonah. Omari?
Hello, everybody. Omari Pryor. I'm with UCSB's Alcohol and Drug Program. I work with and for Jackie, and thank you for the invitation.
Thanks, Omari. Shannon?
Hi, everyone. My name is Shannon Sweeney. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm here as the Associate Students, or I guess for next year, External Vice President for Local Affairs.
Thanks, Shannon, and congratulations on your new position. Kathryn?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kathryn. Pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm here on behalf of AS Program Board, responsible for putting on alternative programming for the campus.
Thanks, Kathryn. Glad to have you here. MJ? Okay. Next up on my screen. Oh,
so
go
sorry.
for it.
Hi, I'm MJ. I'm they, them. Good to meet you all. I live across the street in family student housing.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us tonight. And then now we'll introduce the folks from the Park District. Mia?
Hi, I'm Mia. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And yeah, I'm a director from the Park District.
Ash?
Hi, I'm Ash, they, them. I am also one of the RPD directors. Happy to be here. Thanks for coming.
Great. And Kimberly?
Hi, everybody. Really wonderful to see everybody. Thanks for coming and joining. Pronouns are her. And excited to be in she. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Kimberly. Luis?
Yeah, Luis, pronouns he and him, and recreation coordinator for Isla Vista Rec and Park District. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Luis. And now our Ivcsd team, Marcos.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Marcos Aguilar. I use he, him, and his pronouns, and I'm a director with the Isla Vista Community Services District.
And Kathryn?
Hello, everyone. I'm Kathryn Flaherty. I'm Vice President of the Ivcsd. I'm a third year at UCSB, and then I know there are some AS people here as well. So I'm currently also an AS senator, even though I term out tomorrow. But I know there are some AS people here, so thank you for coming.
Thanks, Kathryn. Jonathan?
Hi, everybody. My name is Jonathan Abood. I'm the General Manager for the IV Community Services District, and my pronouns are he, him, his.
Thanks, Jonathan. Deborah?
Hi, everyone. I'm Deborah Anderson. I'm the Assistant General Manager for the Isla Vista Community Services District, and my pronouns are she and hers.
Thanks, Deborah. Abigail?
Hi, I'm Abigail. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm an intern for the Ivcsd.
Thanks, Abigail. Leah?
Hi, everyone. I'm Leah. I'm also one of the interns for Ivcsd, and I use she, her pronouns.
Thanks, Leah. Spencer?
Hi, everyone. I'm Spencer Brandt. I'm the president of the Isla Vista Community Service District. Happy to be here to observe today.
Thanks, Spencer. And I think that's everyone from our Ivcsd team. I'll introduce myself as well. Ethan Bertrand, he, him, his, and I serve as the director of the Ivcsd as well. And then I see we've had a few other community members join. Leonor?
Hi, everyone. Leonor. I'm with the program director for the St. George Youth Center, YMCA, and pronouns are she and her.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Jackson?
Hello, yeah, I'm a third year transfer student. I'm a member of the HERE Health, Environment, and Animal Rights Club. I'm just here to observe as well.
Great, thanks so much for joining us. And is there anyone that we did not introduce who would like to introduce themselves? Okay, looks like we have everyone for now. So we're going to get into our agenda, which There will be two very quick presentations from the Community Services District and from the Park District. And then we turn it over to you. We have a series of questions to start gathering some ideas and information. But to start off, we'll just give you a little bit of information about this project. So Jonathan, if you could please pull up the slides. And I'll turn it over to Marcos Aguilar.
Hold on real quick. All right, let me just get my screen organized. Again, hi everyone, welcome and thank you for joining us today. So some of us came up with this Isla Vista nightlife plan originally because of all the pause in nightlife here in Isla Vista due to COVID-19. And so we're going to share a little bit of our examples of what we have enjoyed in Isla Vista nightlife in the past. Can we go to the next slide? So generations of Isla Vista residents have enjoyed going out at night. Many resources have gone into responding to nighttime challenges, but few ongoing resources have gone into creating high quality nighttime experience for Isla Vista residents. So for me, part of my time in Isla Vista over the last 11 years involved traveling outside of IV to find more unique and more diverse experiences beyond the house party scene, beyond the neighbors scene and things like that. But I would love if we could bring some of these outside traditions back into Isla Vista. And we've seen that occur in the last 5 to 6 years with things like open mics, more karaoke type events, things like that. And I will hand it over to Kathryn for the next slide.
Okay, so what did nightlife look before COVID-19? I'm sure a lot of us remember, even though it feels like forever ago now, but Isla Vista is known for having a very active social scene. However, house parties are often the primary venues for entertainment. Of course, there are other band shows and stuff like that, but it normally does center over house parties. And then dinner and drinks are in the commercial zone. And there are some occasional organized nightlife or events by a lot of different entities in Isla Vista, but that isn't often something that is continued as students graduate or some sense of place where everyone can come together, discuss which nights they're going to be holding certain events kind of thing. So we have certain organized events, but no huge traditions that were kind of spreading throughout the years here. And then the next slide will go to Ethan, I believe.
Yes, thank you. And what have some of the challenges been? Well, first off, as many of you know, we've had safety and neighborhood issues over the years, which we've gone after in a number of different ways. Tonight, we're going to be taking a different approach, but nonetheless, these are challenges that we've dealt with over the years. Oftentimes when responding to these issues, we focused on investing in law enforcement in lieu of investing in nightlife programs, which creates its own challenge. In IV, there can be a negative connotation about what happens after dark. For too long, there's been a negative stereotype of IV not being safe at night or not being a good place to be at night. And of course, there are also issues that make it unsafe at times. But we want to counter this narrative and show a lot of the good things that do happen in IV after dark and create positive experiences. And then another challenge that we experience is local businesses struggle during times that the colleges are out of session. These are just a couple examples of the challenges. Next slide, please. But with all that being said, we're here to think big and to plan for the future of Isla Vista nightlife, a positive future, one that has ongoing high quality programs that are fun, engaging, and safe.
So with tonight's meeting, one of the main goals is to have everyone get to know each other and figure out what kind of other stakeholders we should be bringing to the table. a huge rush right now to come up with the best ideas, but more to make sure that we have everyone involved. So some of the different partners that we've identified early on was, of course, the Rec and Park District here in Isla Vista, the local businesses, Ucsb, and its campus clubs, student clubs, different organizations. And we're hoping that with all these different groups, we can take inventory of the past as well as current nightlife assets, but make sure that we have a creative process to work and develop the future of IV so it's safe and inclusive for everyone. So that's why we're really happy to have you all here today. I'll hand it over to Kathryn next.
So what will the planning process look like? So first, we really want to identify our short-term and long-term goals for Isla Vista. Next, we want to develop program ideas and concepts, and then create an action plan. So stakeholders will take on the lead of projects of interest. So if there are certain things that will occur in the parks, that would be for the Recreation and Park District. For the community center, that would fall under our jurisdiction. So all the different stakeholders will really take charge of their own projects, and then we'll really move from planning to programming and working together so that all of these programs can be implemented in Isla Vista. And then something important that we want to consider is that we really want to begin implementing this by the start of the academic year. I'm sure we have all heard by now that the UCs plan on being in person in the fall, and so we will probably see an influx of people coming to Isla Vista who maybe haven't even been here before. So we really want to ensure that there's safe programming and accessible programming, free programming for everyone as they come into Isla Vista, and for our residents who are already here.
Thanks, Kathryn. And I'll take the next slide about the Ivcsd's commitment to this project. And first off, just for anyone who's at one of these meetings for the first time, the Isla Vista Community Services District is a special district created to serve the needs of our community. We provide a number of services related to public safety, operating community facilities, and improving the quality of life of our neighborhoods. And with that, we have a particular interest in this project. By law, we are tasked with operating community facilities, including community centers, theaters, and cultural facilities, which plays hand in hand with nighttime events. Additionally, we have a community programs budget that is committed to bringing the community's ideas to life and providing engaging, high-quality services and programs. And then lastly, a few things that we're already doing in this space. We currently provide safety services on weekend nights with our Isla Vista safety stations out in the community. And we've also worked with community partners, including the Recreation and Park District, the University, and Lucidity festivals to try to reimagine how we have community festivals in Isla Vista. So that's just a little bit about our connection to this work.
And so we really need you and all of your participation and all of your golden ideas to help us spring forward into the future of IV. So again, thank you for showing up with us as we launch this initiative. We want this process to begin with a plan that is representative of our entire community, of our long-term residents, our permanent residents, our newest residents, and even our visitors from outside of Isla Vista. So hopefully we can all work together, take nightlife, arts, and cultural events to the next level.
And so the plan for today's meeting today is to, one, learn about the project. So hopefully you've learned a little bit of background through this presentation, and then we'll begin to share ideas coming from the perspective of all of our different entities that we're a part of. And just a reminder, this is just our first meeting. There will be a lot of other meetings to provide feedback and discuss specific ideas. This is really just to throw out all of our crazy ideas that we have for Isla Vista. What would our ideal Isla Vista nightlife look like for all of our residents? So that means throwing out ideas for events that may seem a little crazy or out of reach, but maybe an idea can spur from that really can get done. So that's the overview for today's meeting, and thank you all for coming. We're so excited to hear your feedback and build a better Isla Vista nightlife for all of us.
Thanks, team. And we'll now pass this over to our friends at the Recreation and Park District. And I'd also like to announce that once we get into the question and answer period, we will be recording the meeting for note-taking purposes.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Okay, perfect. So yeah, thank you again for everyone joining us today. Again, my name is Luis. I'm the Recreation Coordinator for the Isla Vista Rec and Park District. And what really this slideshow that we have here, it's just a few slides. Last spring, we conducted a adult recreation survey. We were looking at starting to provide recreational programs and events that were geared a little more towards adults and college age students. We currently offer youth programs that are currently on hold due to COVID, but we were hoping to expand into some more adult recreation. We got over 300 responses on that survey. And so we just want to share some of the stuff that came out through that survey to kind of as a starting point for everyone to kind of get everyone's juices flowing of different ideas of, because we look forward to hearing everyone's ideas for this topic of nightlife, arts, and cultural events. While we were, over the past year, we've been meeting with different local organizations and entities to discuss how can we expand, our recreation programs and events. And as we had those conversations, we ran into, some challenges that, give me 1 second as I, you're not letting me. Sorry, guys, I have a technical difficulty here. Give me 1 second. Let me do it this way. Okay. So we ran into a couple, we identified a couple of challenges for the park district as we met with different entities to talk about events and cultural and arts and programs. A couple of things that kind of always came up was budget. The park district has a very small operating budget, especially for recreation. We currently allocate $60,000 towards recreation programs and events, and that majority of all that goes to what we currently already offer, which are youth programs, after-school programs, field trips for youth in Isla Vista, and then also some community events that we hold throughout the year. Staffing, we talked about staffing with various organizations and how we can enhance that to provide more programs. We've talked about currently we only have one full-time recreation employee, which is myself. And currently our youth programs are ran with using work-study staff. And then our past community events, we've been heavily relying on volunteers, which thankfully at Isla Vista, we have such a large pool of volunteers that have always come out and supported us in our events and helped set up and organize and plan. We talked about park capacity. As many of you who are familiar with the parks here in Isla Vista, there hasn't been many upgrades over the years. And one main thing that we always talk about is lighting, just in general in IV, and our parks fall under that. We have insufficient lighting in some of the parks, which can cause some problems in hosting nighttime events. But we're definitely open to the idea. We do have 3 parks that have access to electricity, and it's for Amphitheater, Peoples, and Little Acorn. And those 3 parks we see as playing a key role in hosting nightlife and nighttime events in the future. And also just liability, again, just the current condition of our parks, the high traffic volume we get over the year with all the students, especially when we have in the fall all the students come back to IV, just the liability of large scale events. Our parks are just not built to host too large of a crowd. Our amphitheater is probably the park that can host the most people, which I've heard is around 300 people that can fit in there. So being able to make sure that we keep in mind the size of our parks, liability, and making sure that we're offering safe environments for everyone to participate in events. But we're really excited about this conversation. And in the past we've hosted various different events. Some of you might be familiar with them, some of you might not. but we've hosted our Meet Your Neighbors Day event, which happens usually in October. It's a partnership with Carnival. It happens on the same day. We offer a free pancake breakfast. We have a pumpkin patch. We have free games, free snacks. It's a really popular event, probably one of our biggest ones during the year. We also do some events for our families and youth, so Safe Halloween and Ivy Family Fair. Those are targeted more towards Isla Vista youth and families. Those are held at Children's Park and Estero Park. The Family Fair is actually probably just as big as our Meet Your Neighbors Day event. We got a great turnout over there at Estero with, again, free games, free food, free live performances. And of course, it's open to anybody. It doesn't necessarily have to be family, but it kind of has the name Family Fair. And then over the years, we've had a great partnership with the Magic Lantern and Isla Vista Arts to host movies in the park during the summer in August and September at no cost to the community. And that's always something, you know, unfortunately we were unable to offer this past year due to COVID, but hopefully that's something that we can kickstart again and hopefully maybe even expand that into other year other than just the summertime. And then we have our Bark Party, which is our dog park event. We host at the Sueño Bark Park. It's a free event. Again, all these events are free, and we hope to continue to offer more free events. And we're looking forward to hear everyone's ideas of what those events could look like in the future and potential partners to help execute those events and plan and organize. But just want to give everybody who maybe wasn't familiar a little recap of what the district currently provides in community events, and you know, hoping to expand on this list. But one thing that again, through our survey, this is all survey based kind of stuff. You know, nightlife did come up in our survey. We saw it talked about. And I know one thing that the district in the past maybe hadn't really taken a lead on, but is looking forward to and has reached out over the last few months to different organizations to expand community events. First Fridays was something that are usually hosted in People's Park. And, you know, I've had some preliminary conversations with previous organizers with Ucsb Recreation and also the Office of Student Life to see what it would take to kind of bring back First Fridays. I know prior to COVID, it was kind of on and off. I think they were doing it on a quarterly basis, and just kind of trying to see how the district can help be a bigger support other than just, you know, a park renter, actually help organize and bring organizations together to help provide something similar to First Fridays, if not, you know, bring back First Fridays. And there's a couple pictures on here. These are of First Fridays. This top right and bottom left corner are past First Friday events. Music has always been big in our survey, and you know, I think supporting local music, supporting local artists has always been something that the district historically has done. I've gone through our archives of photos and found some great pictures of local bands playing in our amphitheater, and you know, I know we're still coming out of COVID, so you know, we'll slowly kind of move into having larger crowds, but it was really inspiring. This bottom right corner is a photo of a concert, and it'll be really great to see that amphitheater once again activated with live performances, whether that's bands, performing arts, spoken word. And, you know, we have such a, you know, diverse population here in Isla Vista, a lot of people coming from various parts of the state, some people out of the country to go to school here. And I think being able to help celebrate culture events, I love that that's in the title, Ivy Nightlife Arts and Cultural Events. You know, I know some people already do Dia de los Muertos. If you honestly know what it's called, there's an amazing Dia de los Muertos event over in the OSL building. But how can we also celebrate, you know, other cultures and really provide a platform for local organizations and student groups of various cultures to kind of, you know, be proud and share their heritage and culture with the community of Isla Vista. And it can really be also an educational piece for those of us not familiar. When we were making this list, you know, I worked with our directors here on the call. You know, I have never heard of Holly. I looked it up. It looks amazing. And I would love to see something similar to that here in IV. And, you know, again, working with just student groups, identifying student groups that can help, who are, you know, who, this is their culture, and they can help us celebrate. We can help, provide a platform and support them, I think would be an amazing thing. And next, we talked about, those were kind of events. The bulk of our adult recreation survey was programs and was classes. And, a couple of things really stuck out. Dance classes, which I think can translate into evening classes, especially if something like the community center is up and running this fall. This is something that we've been talking to. We currently are already offering weekly Zumba classes over at Estero Park. We have line dancing and salsa were two very popular options in our survey. I think they were the top, behind Zumba, those were the top 3 dance class options that were voted for. Both had over 150 votes each. So I think having something fun like that, there's a picture here on the top right of line dancing over at the creek side. So having, some fun nights scheduled every week during the quarters would be amazing. And we're obviously in popular demand. Something that over the last year, we've been talking with our friends over at Ucsb Recreation to talk about kind of how can we help offer some of their recreation programs, some of their fitness classes in our parks. That doesn't really kind of tie into this idea of nightlife, but throughout our conversations with, the committee here, we talked about how can we still provide kind of safe environments for people who are 21 over to still, do kind of some positive recreation stuff. And two of the most popular classes that was sold by Ucsb Recreation are their wine tasting and beer tasting class, which is, a 8-week program where you learn all the various types of beers and wines. It's very much educational component to it, along with, tasting of beverages. But I think it's something that, we've been talking with Ucsb Recreation of how to offer more of those classes, since they always fill up very quickly, and have them closer to IV for students to have to go all the way to campus for these classes. And another thing that's very popular right now is just kombucha. People, it's a healthy beverage, and people want to learn how to brew it at home, and looking to provide just again some evening classes that are engaging, provide a safe atmosphere for everyone to participate. And then again, we touched on this earlier, movies in the park. Hoping we can have some discussions with Isla Vista Arts and Magic Lantern. I know currently we usually do movies only in the summertime, but how can we maybe look at hosting some of those movies during the spring quarter as well? Try to kind of expand the amount of time that we're offering movies in the park. During the springtime, it's a great time for us to kind of get together. The weather's starting to get nicer. The evenings are a little warmer. So how can we maybe expand up movies in the park and offer more movies? So these are just some of the, again, some programs and events that came through in our survey. And then just because it's in the title, art, we really want to, this is a big initiative that we want to do as a park district. We're currently hosting the Runaway art installation at Port Gardens in collaborations with the Santa Barbara County Art Office. And we hope to continue to provide more art installations in our parks. We're a big fan of murals. Over the years, we've helped provide funding for murals in parks and adjacent properties to parks. These photos down on the bottom, these nighttime events, this was actually the light works, something I found out about and was reading about that happened back in 2016 in collaboration with the Ucsb Open Lab and Isla Vista Rec and Park District and the Santa Barbara County Office of Art. And, having some fun, interactive art installations. Again, lighting, we know that lighting, we have poor lighting in our parks, and how can we have something that can bring some lighting into the parks, make parks feel safer at night? We are a big fan of the idea of lighting installations and just having overall, murals that are interactive, that are photogenic, that make people want to come out to the parks, take pictures with them. And, we're looking forward to really hearing how we can bring more art into our parks. And yeah, just wanted to, kind of share some of the stuff that we've collected over the past year, we've been working on over the past year, and we look forward to everyone's feedback and look forward to hearing everyone's suggestions moving forward, because I know, we have a nice crowd here today, and looking forward to maybe expanding this list of potential events and programs for the Isla Vista community.
Thanks, Luis. That was a great overview of all the amazing things happening at the Recreation and Park District. And I think that provides a couple or several great examples of the types of ideas that we may want to pursue as a community. And now we are going to turn to our exciting part of the evening, hearing from the community directly. So Marcos Aguilar will take us through the first question. Don't be shy, share whatever you would like. There's no wrong answers.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Thanks for the presentation, IVRPD. So our first question up for discussion is, what have you liked about the nighttime experience in Isla Vista over the years and in the past? And please, you can either raise your hand digitally with the Zoom button, or feel free to jump in and speak or wave your hand into the camera. Joshua.
Yeah, so for me, I really want to talk about the lights for Christmas. I'm the program for those who joined in late, or I'm the program coordinator at the St. George Youth Center, and I believe it was Luis, Ivrpd, that helped us with some lights and Christmas lights outside of our building, and we had families pass by and look at our lights every day, and every single day they would tell us like that they really just simply enjoyed seeing that the parks were actually lit up. So I would like more lights like that, like events like that. I would vouch for something like that. And yeah, so that's something I want to talk about, because we had multiple families that give great feedback about the lights, and they too wanted to see something more like that, and which kind of motivated myself and Leonor to next year for Christmas to also try to put up more lights and try to make it more fancy and for the kids in the end of the day. But yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that comment. I see Jackie, you have your hand raised.
Yep. Thanks. Really appreciated seeing all the remembering all the wonderful events that have gone on through Rec and Park. So thanks for that. So, you know, from the position that I hold and that Omari and I hold on the campus, we're really grateful for when there's collaborations between a number of different organizations. So between, you know, the Rec Center or Department of Rec, Health and Wellness, our Life at the Party peers, and collaborations and partnerships, because it gives us a chance to promote them even more. And the other thing I wanted to say is the events like First Friday, I think we've always really appreciated those. And one of the reasons is that people tend to count on them because they are scheduled on a regular basis. And you know, we've always felt that makes such a difference in students and community members being able to count on certain things happening, you know, on a regular scheduled, whether it's every Friday, every other Friday, once a month on a Friday, you know, every Saturday. I mean, we've always wanted there to be an ongoing calendar so that students didn't have to wonder what's going on, but they just come to count on some continuity. And so with that, I have a question. Would Ivcsd be maintaining a calendar? I have to say that it's one of the greatest challenges that we have found in our activity planning, is that there are multiple different calendars that are maintained by multiple different, you know, student organizations and campus organizations. And so nobody really knows where to look for the most current information. So I would just put a vote in for some kind of calendar for Isla Vista events that people really can come to depend on. So, and this is great. I'm so happy to hear all of this stuff. So.
Yes, so that's an excellent question. I think that maybe our director, Kathryn, would like to speak on the calendar idea. It kind of came up in our brainstorming sessions.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about the idea of a community calendar. I would love to have one where people could submit online and it goes into an online database, and then outside of the CSD or around Isla Vista, it can be printed and posted so that people know what's going on. But I personally think a calendar where everyone can submit to and knows where to submit, I think it would be, I think it's essential in making sure that everyone really knows what's going on, especially with this project.
All right, thank you so much for that, Kathryn. Yeah, I just want to second that having a calendar is definitely a serious ambition of ours here at the Ivcsd.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Hi, this is Leonore again with the St. George Youth Center. I guess when I think of favorite activities at nighttime, pre-COVID, we would host basically all-nighters. So the youth center, we'd be open from 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. And it was one of the favorite activities of the youth, probably for multiple reasons. Living, in apartments and multiple families, it's not really something they get to do with friends, to have friends sleep over, but it would be no sleeping. It'd be all night activities. So basically it's like what we would do during the day, but it would be at night. So midnight pool tournaments, games, whatnot. So that's probably, we have about 10, 12 years doing that type of activity during either Christmas break or spring break, those times. And then the other thing would be dance nights with the DJ. Interestingly enough, one time somebody called the police on us and it was like 9:50 because the music was too loud, which is very interesting. But those are kind of things that stand out to me in regards to obviously the youth that we work with. And there has been times when we partnered with the MCC and they've brought out, what was it called? Love in a time of, there's probably over 300 people that filled the youth center inside and outside. And I think there were some professors that made it a requirement, but it was a really, really great event, along with a jazz night that we also hosted there. So we have a space that fits up to about 300 people indoors. And so those are some of the things that stand out for me. We're working together today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that comment. Definitely some exciting ideas I hadn't considered before. Let's see. Do we have anyone else who wants to speak on this question?
I'll jump in there. The most unique and interesting event that I've experienced in Isla Vista was about 9 years ago. There was a dark carnival that was produced in the amphitheater space. It was a group that was brought from Vegas, from someone from the Bico House, and they did all sorts of contortion and really interesting acts that were sort of like swords. There was someone swallowed a sword, like it was stuff that you don't really see every day. And so I think that little theater, like really prime for intimate live music and theatrical events right there in the park. It's also relatively easy from a logistical standpoint to put some fences up and create a ticketed experience if there was something around generating revenue to cover some of the costs. I heard someone earlier talking about budget is consistently an issue. So that space is good for that, or leaving it open and letting it be a free event and letting things spill out into that front area. I remember there were also some other circus related events with aerial rigs out there that were pretty awesome. After the shooting, Lucidity Festival and I Am Healing produced an event that was there in that amphitheater and spilled out into the front area where we offered healing services for free to anybody coming. We had like 10 massage tables set up and there was sound healing, and it was really quite a beautiful event. So I think that space is really like prime for pretty regular programming, and I'd love to see more of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those comments. Does anyone else have anything they want to add into this question? No, I'm not seeing any hands up. Brian.
Quick question. I'm wondering, do we have somewhere here one of those like blow up, or the common screen for playing movies in the park that people use today? It's usually not something that blows up and it's not a huge screen. Let's see. It's kind of like they have a drive-in theater in Hollywood, basically, that has it as an example.
Yeah, I can picture what you're describing. Jackie, go ahead.
I know that, and I think RPD mentioned that Magic Lantern offers films, so I think they have a big screen. We have, for Life of the Party, we've just acquired a projector. I can't remember actually, Omar, if we have a screen along with that, but we have a projector. And
yes, we have a blow-up screen.
Okay, so we've been, we purchased this before COVID, and we're really looking forward to using it. So we hope we'll be able to do that. So I think between our services and Magic Lantern, and I think our equipment allows for Bluetooth connection, which would probably serve the community better than blasting it out into the, into the community. But yeah, I think there are a couple of options for that, Brian. And whenever we've taken polls, outdoor movies is one, and music are the two most voted for activities from students.
I just want to add to that, Jackie, agree. We've hosted movies in Estero Park over many previous years. One year, unfortunately, the sprinklers came on, and so we had to shut everything down. But it is definitely, I think, hands down, a great activity for everyone.
Cheers to welcome to the newcomers.
Awesome, thank you. Katie, I see your hands raised.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a couple ideas. I'd really liked a lot of what people are saying about music. I haven't seen too many venues that have hip hop regularly, and I'd love to see more of that. That was some of my favorite times going to the park for nightlife activities. It was super fun. They had a photo booth. I loved that. But also I wanted to echo the idea about having more lighting around the winter time. As a parent, it's been challenging often when there are school breaks during the winter. All of a sudden the days are shorter and your kids still have energy and they need a place to go run around. So I know a lot of parents really do feel the same way. So if there was some way that the area around the playground could be more lit up. There's just been so many times, I've taken my daughter out and it's like, where's her shoe? It's totally lost. It's down the street. So I would love to see something like that. I think that would be just a boon to families. But I'm really loving all of these ideas. So thanks for everyone who shared so far.
Awesome, thank you. Just I'll read quickly from the chat. Some people loving the local music scene here in IV. And again, these are really great suggestions. Music is definitely a top priority for all of us here. I think we should transition on to our next discussion item. So I'll hand it over to Kathryn.
Yes, so our next discussion question, I'll add it in the chat too. It is, do you feel safe participating in the current nighttime activities available in Isla Vista? And if you don't feel comfortable, you can direct message me and I can read it out loud, or pop it in the chat or raise your hand. So a lot of different ways that we can answer this question and get people talking. Yes, Mark.
I guess, well, thank you, Kathryn. I guess I would kind of like question like what nighttime activities there are in Isla Vista besides, partying at someone's house. And then there's also the alternative events that are offered at Ucsb, during non-COVID times. So I guess it's really hard for me to answer that question because when I'm going to see a Magic Lantern film, I feel definitely safe. When I'm going to a party on DP, it really depends.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that. I think it's important to mention that there are some activities that really are working for public safety and maybe others that aren't so much. So we're really looking to hear any input that we have from
the other side and just say,
Yeah.
you, I don't want this job. I don't.
I just wanted to add, I think the feedback I've gotten from families, obviously for one example, during Halloween, I think hardly no one goes trick-or-treating or around the community. So they'll walk over down Stork to a different area there to trick-or-treat because they don't feel safe. So that's just the only kind of example with the families or youth that comes up.
Sean, thank you. That was.
Thank you for that comment. Any other comments? And then, yeah, totally feel free to put it in the chat too if you can't talk.
I think I'm kind of with Mark on this one with things being during COVID and like social events. It's a little like nerve-wracking. Like even though a lot of people are fully vaccinated now, I think safety is almost it's taking a new meaning in the past year. So that's like my biggest thing is just like COVID safety and like what guidelines are being followed when going out to places.
Yeah, thank you. That'll be really important to consider too, especially as we move towards programming for the fall. COVID is absolutely something we'll still have to consider. So thank you. Any other comments? I see a comment in the chat referencing back to the lights. The dim or lack of lighting can contribute to the sense of feeling not always the safest. I agree with that. Gina, yes.
Hi, thanks. Sometimes I feel, especially when I'm driving back home from somewhere else and coming back into Isla Vista, there's often these checkpoints on, I think it's Los Carneros, that are set up by cops to make sure people aren't drunk driving or check their IDs. I'm not really sure, but there's a lot of like blinding lights in the way, and there's like usually 12 county sheriffs kind of like parked in the middle of the road, and it's really scary. And also while being around Ivy at night, there's often just like a lot of cops patrolling the streets, walking around on bikes, biking through my neighborhood. And it kind of just makes me feel like I'm being watched all the time. And I think going forward, like safety for me looks like a cop-free campus, a cop-free community that isn't patrolling all the time.
Thank you. Yeah, Ethan?
Thanks. Just wanted to mention that I think that over the years with kind of the stereotypes of Isla Vista, there's this unsaid or sometimes explicit expectation that things will just be out of control at night, or that like, oh, the weekend's here, like it's going to be crazy on Friday night. And obviously we want things to be fun at night, and a lot of fun, I'll say. But sometimes when there's like just that expectation that things could get out of hand, that kind of creates issues when people maybe think that things might get out of control. Like that can have a lot of community members feeling unsafe.
Thank you for that comment. Yes, Brian.
I wanted to mention something about that basically, because I know that's been an issue here. And I just think it's a matter of letting people have a good time. But then having so many people there that are, staying completely sober, and, probably more people that are completely staying sober around that are kind of mingling in with everybody that, prevent things from getting out of control. There's a structure to it. I'm not really quite sure how to do it. Of course, I'm sure there's somebody here that might know more about it than me, but it's just a matter of having an abundant force of sobriety out, basically, of not just law enforcement, but civilians.
I can piggyback on that real quick and just plug a group that's been collaborating with the Ivcsd and Lucidity Festival to propose safety and security solutions for events, but for the community at large also. It's called the Guardian Team. It's a group here in Santa Barbara that focuses on safety and security and harm reduction. And so these are people who are trained as security guards, but also trained in the art of de-escalation and harm reduction, dealing with people who are on substances and having sort of mental health challenges. And so we've proposed deployments of guardians during high traffic, like large population events, Deltopia, Halloween have been sort of the targets of our proposals, but we're also imagining that there could be guardian deployment at just, any other peak moment when there's a lot of population. If there's large events, even smaller events, I feel like could be good opportunities to deploy the Guardian team. So I just want to plug that and just remind everybody that there is a local service that can be activated at any time. And the Isla Vista Community Service District Board has the contact information for the Guardian team. So.
Thank you. And then Gina, did you still have a comment, or if not, I'll go to Ash. Okay, I think Ash is a bit.
Okay, I don't know how much we're supposed to talk. Probably not too much, but a little bit maybe is okay. Okay, cool. So I like what some people are bringing up, and I've had some of my friends share this idea similar to what the last few people were saying, like having people, ideally they're paid and trained in de-escalation and how to check on people and harm reduction. And I would also emphasize that this can be useful around deterring like sexual assault and people's boundaries being violated when there's someone trained in kind of distracting and offering someone a safe outlet and stuff like that. It can be really helpful. Check.
Thank you. I see another comment in the chat. Notice and talk to many of their friends, and a common theme is the worry and safety in regards to the homeless population in IB at night. Jackson, I don't know if you want to expand on that a little bit, or that's okay if not too. And then if anyone else has any other comments on if they feel safe participating currently. If not, we'll move on to the next discussion question. And I believe, Mia, you're leading the next. Oh, sorry, Joshua.
I just wanted to comment about what Gina said about not feeling so safe with so many police officers patrolling on events, like specific events. And I feel there wouldn't be that much of a need for many officers if, say, the lighting situation was different. And basically with light, there's less area of possible harm. So there wouldn't be as many need for coverage in multiple spots type of thing. So I feel that it'd be less police officers. And ultimately, I think police officers are pretty expensive. So piggybacking off of that Guardian idea, I think just overall, if a whole bunch of like the whole community was aware on like self-defense, like multiple classes have already been taught at the St. George Youth Center by the Inner Warrior Project. Then also like just simply more awareness on self-defense and emotional intelligence. It's another training we just had that we're teaching to the kids right now as well, and just having everybody aware on like how your actions do affect others. And I feel if as long as the community keeps learning, and I guess we keep doing our part in like teaching everybody that IV is actually safe, then there automatically will be less police officers patrolling, because then they too will trust that the community could keep the community safe rather than needing outside help. And yeah, I think that just, I feel like it just all, everything needs to like kind of like a domino effect needs to happen, but something needs to happen first, like basically lighting, then little by little everything should start being more safe, I feel. And then like with the less amount of people because of COVID right now, I feel it's like a perfect time to like start seeing this, actually the community start being more safe, like a more real time effect, I feel. But yeah, that's what I wanted to comment. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't believe there are any other hands raised. So we'll go on. Thank you everyone for all your comments. I really appreciate it. And then we'll move on to Mia for the next discussion question. I'll copy it in the chat too so that you can reference it.
Awesome. Yeah, so the next question is, how can local businesses be involved and benefit from future events and activities and recreational programs? So if anyone, I'm having trouble seeing hands sometimes. So if I don't see anyone's hand, you can unmute yourself, but let's see. Okay, Mark.
I think businesses really want to be involved in this like so heavily. I mean, like the former Coffee Collab used to have like open mic nights and slam poetry, and it was like awesome to have that culture in our community. The current owner of Ivy Deli Market says that she like wishes there wasn't parking requirements for her property, or else she would have like a band play in her parking lot and have, you know, like, and have food stalls there and stuff like that for them. I think businesses want this to happen. I think this could bring in a healthy way, I want to add this, like outsiders from like Goleta and other places who want to come to Isla Vista and spend their money and like actually like enjoy this community. And I think it would benefit small businesses too. So like, I think involving business owners in the conversation to answer the how question is going to be really important in that, because I can't imagine any business owners being like, no, we don't want events in an IV. Yeah.
Good.
Good. So this has been.
Thank you so much. Was that someone else trying to talk or no? Oh, go ahead, Jonah.
Hi. So I think that as someone who was just speaking was mentioning, like local businesses are going to benefit if there are more events in IV, and if events are happening and they're thriving and they're bringing people into the parks and into the downtown district, then those local businesses that are there are naturally going to benefit from the higher flow. So the question is how to create a culture where events are received well, and there's an easy pathway for producers and students and organizations who want to create events to do so. As a part of a few of the processes to try to get events going on in Isla Vista in the past, I will say that it is a little bit of a bureaucratic quagmire. And there are so many different interests and stakeholders that all need to be involved in the process, which is great. And I'm totally 100% all about inclusion and multi-stakeholder processes. And so I don't have a solution to how to streamline all of that for those organizations that have the vision and the bandwidth and the know-how to create events. But if there was some way that it could be streamlined, that gets us closer to, yes, produce that event, get it on the calendar, go, what's the next thing? Yes, produce that event, put it on the calendar, go, what's the next thing? Then I think that that is going to have the natural benefits of all of the businesses in the area benefiting just from higher frequency of events happening. And so creating some fewer barriers to entry and a little bit less red tape, I think would serve in that way.
Yeah, those are great points. Thank you so much. Gina, I think you were next.
Thanks. I really resonate with somebody said towards the beginning of the meeting about events that aren't, or I guess like programming that's not just around when school is in session, like making sure that businesses have ways to get customers in off season. Although I know that students want to participate the most, although these events are going to be size limited, either whether it's indoor, the community center, if it's on Pardal. So it might actually be beneficial to have some things that are off the student calendar. Also, I think this was formally proposed by the CSD and Lucidity for like closing Pardal. I love that idea. I think that'd be really fun. I would totally go to an event that if there was like a street closed and all the businesses around it were open, maybe there was live music and noise ordinances could be restricted for or temporarily like not in place for a day. Like that would be amazing. I would love to go to that event.
Awesome. Thank you. Does anyone else have anything they want to share?
Hi, this is Leonor. I've just seen, I don't know how popular it is, but Old Town Coffee seems to have a lot of different things going on, from food trucks, game nights, bands, a range of, I think they even had like a speed dating something, I don't know. But I mean, there's definitely models out there. So it's just looking at what can work. And I think as somebody mentioned, making things easier for people to be able to offer these types of activities. And or kind of being able to share space. Like I said, we have a great big open building space. So how can we work together with the businesses? We're completely open to, many ideas and very flexible. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, Ethan, did you have something else you wanted to bring up?
Yes, thank you. For the business question in particular, I think a great example is what's been done with Jeffrey's Jazz Coffee House Cafe over the years, led by Professor Jeffrey Stewart and partners, where they've turned private businesses like local restaurants into public spaces and really made them come alive. And I think that's something that we can seek to bring more of to Isla Vista with different artists and venues, and partnering with local businesses to create more pop-up public spaces.
Awesome, thank you. And Jonah, I think you're next again.
No, sorry, I just didn't unraise my hand from the last time.
Okay, no worries. Mark, did you have something else?
Yeah, I guess that applies to this topic. I'm not sure. I've been, university is always the elephant in the room in conversations. And I've always been hoping that the university, like the first week of like spring quarter, for an example, could do like an Isla Vista week where like professors taught history of Isla Vista, like geology professors taught about like cliffs in Isla Vista, where, where like every single faculty member could commit to having their lunch break in Isla Vista and like really like centering the community. Because I think like it's that disconnect between the university and Isla Vista that leads to people not being stewards of the community. And I would love to have like, like shit, if I was controlling orientation, I would orient every single student to Isla Vista first. But, I'm not a great godmother. But like, I would love, that's something I'd love to see, is really have people like value their community and not just like, like, look, I love Starbucks, but like make an intentional choice to go to Kaje, a small business, over the Starbucks in Isla Vista, and those sorts of things, and start thinking that way. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, those are great points. Thank you so much. I love that idea.
I just wanted to add, yeah, I love that idea. And to kind of piggyback on that, one thought I've had and kind of mentioned it out there is the idea of maybe the rec center being open 24/7, like a 24-hour fitness for students and young people that obviously might want to work out at all hours of the night. So, and or what can happen in that space as well. I know it's not in IV, but looking at what's already in place and what could be maximized, and whether it's like health and wellness, having one shift at one evening, really kind of bringing all the providers in one space as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you so much. Anyone else before we move on to Ethan's question? All right, well, those were great points. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks. I think Ash will go first.
Okay, sorry.
Ethan and I switched. Okay. So, okay. What else would you like to see at night in Isla Vista? What should this committee be aiming for? So this is a pretty open-ended question. So just anything you can think of that you wanted to say, feel free to throw it in here. Kathryn.
Yeah, so I think this idea might be a idea that contains a lot of smaller ideas within it, but people had mentioned IB First Friday and how that used to be a tradition, and also the Parks and Rec had mentioned during their presentation that they wanted to incorporate more live music and stuff like that. And then there was also the talk about local businesses and whatnot. So I feel like one event that could bring all these together might be like a monthly farmers market on like the first Friday back in the quarter. So you could like brand it as Friday farmers market or something like that. And you could have, if it's at Enescoyo Park, we could have like IB bands perform on the stage there. We could have local, like, because the local businesses will be so close, I feel like they'll get more attraction or attention. And then students that want to sell like their art or anything, they could also be there. People could have activities there, that kind of stuff. And we can kind of regulate that and try and integrate it as like a reoccurring event that happens on the first Friday of every month or something like that.
Awesome idea. Conversations about possible farmers market booths and bands have come up with some of my friends, as well as like pop-up swap meets. Sometimes people are giving stuff for free, or sometimes people are doing a fundraiser, or maybe like promoting local businesses. So I guess could mention that in case anyone has thoughts on that, but I'll go back to the queue. I'm not sure who raised their hand first. On my screen, Joshua looks like first, but who?
Leonor was before me.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, that's my dog.
Thank you, Joshua. And I actually have to dash out after this. So I just wanted to add, I know we talked about dance classes, cultural nights, which are all great. So I was thinking, I know UCSB has, for example, a Polynesian group and they've taught hula classes. And then there's mariachi group at UCSB that also has taught different things. So it's really incorporating the student groups that are already there, one, giving them an opportunity to perform, but also bringing that to the parks into the community with classes, and maybe just having that night be focused on that. What else? There's also Raíces de mi Tierra that's at UCSB for other types of dance classes. So just really bringing in what we already have access to and highlighting those cultures and those dances, and maybe music, food can be incorporated as well. And was there anything else? I think That's all I had to add, and I actually have to head out, but thank you all very much for coordinating, and look forward to more meetings.
Okay, thanks, Leonore. And if
Thank
anybody
you.
thinks of something else later, they can add it in our Google survey form. If you think of something you forgot to say during the meeting, we can share the link out to that later. Okay, so who's next?
I can go real quick. Sorry. I was just thinking, Ivy has a whole bunch of dogs. I mean, I have my little puppy right here. And I don't think I've seen any sort of like dog shows or anything like that in Ivy. So I was wondering potentially possibly seeing a sort of dog show where Ivy or everybody can go show off their dogs. I mean, we have a really big park, and the Estero Park, there's already everybody takes their dog there. But because I know I've seen the sort of like dog setups show in the park behind Albertsons, but having it in IV would definitely be something I'd like to see. Yeah.
Awesome. Luis, I think, has planned an event like that before and might do it again with the dog community. Okay, Shannon.
Yeah, hi. Just like going off what Kathryn was saying, I think it kind of mirrored some of the open markets we've done with parks in the past. And I think, again, it kind of brings into the challenge of lighting at night in the parks and like the necessity for it. I also wanted to share, I guess, with like that sort of programming with music, student vendors, local businesses there. I told like I worked at a grocery store in Goleta, and like I knew a lot of the regulars pretty well, and I told one of them about the open markets we had like back in 2019, and he was like, wow, I haven't been in IV in forever, but I'd consider going to something like that. Like I'm really interested in that. So I think it's definitely a way we could bring some like people from the rest of Santa Barbara County to like see the best of IV.
Quick follow-up question. What do you mean by open market?
Yeah, so in 2019, I think we had 2 or 3 open markets. And so those we had student vendors, local artists, and musicians come perform in Little Acorn Park. And so we Associated Students partnered with parks to put that event on. And yeah, I was just like, we did it during the afternoon, so it wasn't as at nighttime, but I think it could definitely be transformed into something at nighttime. And it was just like things like people were doing vintage clothes, artwork, jewelry, all the fun stuff.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And actually getting the lighting to make that happen at nighttime would be a huge feat, but this is still great input. Katie, did you have your hand up?
I was thinking of saying something, but I guess at the risk of sounding repetitive, I just wanted to say that I'm always looking for a place to go dancing, and so many of the places downtown are just so tiny. And I think that Ivy really has a lot to offer in terms of putting on events, even ones at night, because there's just a lot more space for people to spread out and feel comfortable and feel safe, because you can put more space in between you and the next person to have that personal space bubble. So I just wanted to say I'm excited to get to come to something, especially if there's something that's cultural, as people are mentioning, and at night and alcohol free. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So does anyone else have a comment for this prompt? Or again, if you think of something later, we have a Google form. So, and I see some things in the chat, so we'll make sure to save that. Ethan, do you want to go ahead with the next one?
Yes, thank you, Ash. So our final question for this evening is, how can we make this planning process successful? Do you have ideas and suggestions for how we can best engage with the community? And to frame this, I'll just put out there, so obviously we want to have success in the short term with getting some new programs off the ground from our different partners. But ultimately, it's really important that we also develop really a roadmap for the future, a plan with action steps that really has a clear vision for the future of our community, nightlife-wise. And this is our first community meeting, but what's your feedback for how we can continue to engage with the community to accomplish a good result? Gina and then Mark.
First of all, thank you guys so much for doing this. This has been a really awesome way to listen in on the ideas that people have so far. I think something you said at the beginning stuck with me, just about like how small the budgets are and how the CSD and RPD are really putting on programming for like all of Isla Vista, all of the CSB students. And I feel like that's great that you guys are doing that, but the university really needs to be a part of that conversation too. And I love that there's so many people on AS that are here, because you know, the university should be like saddling up some serious money for these events, because it's going directly to their students. It's stuff that probably they should also be providing, partnering with student groups that have money, partnering with the university directly. I think that's really great. And maybe co-sponsoring a lot of events and specifically inviting different student groups to come to these meetings. Although there is really great representation here by so many different groups, I think just inviting even more would be awesome to see, and actually co-hosting events together, taking advantage of their university budgets as much as possible. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Gina. Mark?
Thanks, Ethan. Well, first, just because I saw it, I want to really highlight Jonah's message in the chat that, you know, I used to work for an events company very similar to Lucidity, and using what Lucidity has to offer to supplement for events is really great. You know, it makes your event more malleable to have dance floors and lighting and this sort of thing. It makes it expensive too, but it makes it more malleable, excuse me. But I think I really want to stress what you actually said yourself, Ethan, that like a roadmap is really important. Like doing things that are within your reach while you can is really important, but also like if every single or every other message that has been said here has to do with like lighting in the parks, starting to think about like a long-term roadmap for maybe lighting 1 or 2 parks that could be, you know, sustained at night, because I would love to see every single park lit at night, but I know that, you know, I can reach for the stars too. So yeah, I think about like what are the short-term goals and what are the bigger, longer-term goals that might enable bigger things in the future.
Thanks, Mark. Agreed. Anyone else have feedback on how we can create the most successful community engagement process? Just checking the chat. Okay, I don't see any right now, but oh, Ash, go ahead.
One thing I was thinking about is it's awesome when big entities throw a ton of money into one big event. But I bring that up because that's not like super sustainable. Like you can't do that every week. So something that Luis has mentioned a lot is the idea of having some things that are like weekly programming, or every other week or every month or something. And so I would think of trying to pick a few of those kind of things to focus on and setting it up in a way that it's a low budget so that it's not a big burden on anybody. Yeah, so that's one last thought I wanted to throw in. Thanks.
Thanks, Ash. Anyone else? Just scanning the screen again. All right, one thing I'll mention that came to mind earlier when someone brought up the example of First Fridays. It's come up a couple times. Those were always some of my favorite events in IB. And my hope is that through this process, we will get at a place where we have not only First Fridays, but every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, multiple things happening that are enjoyable for many different segments of our community and that bring people together. And that really create a bright future for nightlife in Isla Vista. So I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. This is just the start of this process, just our first meeting. I want to thank the staff for both the Park District and the Community Services District, interns on both sides for helping promote this meeting. And this has been really great. So I'd invite anyone else to make closing comments, and we will follow up with future dates for meetings and additional surveys over email. All right, if no one else has anything, very nice to see you all, and we'll see you very soon. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good to see everybody.